Welcome to Rules of Villainy, episode 34, where 3 new trading card game players quest and challenge their way to the competitive top tables and discuss their opinions on Disney's Lorcana. As always, we'll be discussing the latest news in Lorcana, answering your questions, and this week, not going over the latest meta developments, but having a special main segment. I'm Villain Vince, coming from you, not in my Lego built room here, but in Atlanta. So I am not in St. Louis, but I'm always joined, as always. Can't get away from them. My 2 good friends here, Villainy Andy and the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad. How's it going tonight, gentlemen?
You're missing some really good weather here in St. Louis, man.
Yeah,
I went outside today without a jacket.
Oh,
Listen,
look, we're in short
honestly,
sleeves.
listen,
I didn't even
honestly,
know you had short sleeve shirts, honestly.
the weather here, pretty great too. So I can't complain.
Yeah, I believe it.
I hope it doesn't get cold when I come back
Tomorrow. There was nothing worse than coming back from Florida last week to 20-degree weather, 20-degree or less weather here in St. Louis. So I'm gladly accepting this nice change of pace. But we know the Midwest, it could just change like that.
I know. It's like the false spring over here. Well, we've got a lot to go on to, so let's get into Underworld news, because we're going to try to keep this podcast under an hour and 15 minutes, as I always try to say every week. Let's see. Can we do it? I don't know. Place your bets now. But anyway, in Underworld news, we have some stuff revealed from the Reign of Jafar. So we got a Hades playmat, and we also got revealed here. What's the other playmat? Oh, yes, the Rescue Rangers playmat.
Yeah,
and,
Rescue Rangers away.
And then we've got some boxes and sleeves. So we got the Sorcerer Mickey from Chapter 1 and the Big Tink from Chapter 1, which honestly, I'm actually surprised. I feel like, because we get them in like waves, I thought we had already gotten the Big Tink sleeves for some reason.
Just the playmat. But they're really milking some of these for sure.
Listen, give me those Mickey Wayward Sorcerer sleeves for my Brooms deck. And the last thing, shout out to Lorcana Thanos. That was very difficult to say. I don't know that I've ever said that out loud. We were joking on the socials today, or not joking. Like the last thing we need now, we got the deck box, we have the sleeves, we just need a playmat for our Brooms, and we'll be content. Like, I'm ready. Bring me the playmat.
You know what else we need? More
What's
Brooms.
That? More Brooms. I mean, there is a movement in our local Discord of always calling more brooms, and I'm always excited about more brooms, but I always tell Jake specifically, like, the broom deck's pretty good right now. Like, if you want to give us some cooler brooms, let's have it. But like, I'm not, clamping for new brooms at the moment.
We need brooms. We need more brooms. The broom deck is not viable.
It is a good thought though that to use those sleeves for a broom deck. I will say I built my own broom deck, and it's a lot of fun to play with.
Did I inspire you?
You did inspire me, Mr. Mayor. You did. But there's the other product, which I know was a big contentious talk amongst the 3 of us, was there going to be another Lumineers quest? And there is. There's going to be Palace Heist, and it looks like it might be in a box versus the kind of like gift set boxes that we got with the last one. Unclear what's going to be in it, if it's going to have the same decks or whatever there. But what are your quick hot takes? Let's start with
I'm excited.
Real quick.
I'm. It's fine that they made it. They've made these a long time ago, so they probably made it alongside the Ursula one. So like, I'm not thinking that they like wasted time to do this. I hope there's an improvement from the last one besides just the box. Although honestly, box is pretty nice. Like having the box, if that sticks, it will be a nice place on my shelf.
Spoken like a true millennial who doesn't throw away boxes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to have it in its own personal box with its own title and everything, because my Lumineers quest from Ursula's Return is currently housed in its own Ursula's Return trove, which The only annoying thing about it is the instruction booklet or the play mat that comes with it. The paper one is just a little bit too long, so it's in there curved, and it messes with my OCD so badly. But I mean, otherwise, it's a perfect box for it because it's got 2 deck boxes in all the cards that are part of the game. But having its own box is cool. It looks like it's a reskin of like a villainous box, from the game that they Ravensburger also produces. So perfect,
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. But of course, we've got a whole set in between then and now. So getting to the new set here, we did see all of the reveals of the OP kit, the official play kit. Brad, you want to walk us through what we get?
Yeah, it's really exciting. Much like every other play OP kit that we've gotten so far, we're going to have 4 different cards in it. The 64 of is going to be the You Can't Challenge Me Snow White, Fairest in the Land. We have 32 Kronk laid back. It's an emerald amethyst dual ink, Perdita Playful Mother, the Sapphire Amber dual ink, and the Ruby Steel Li Shang. What do you guys feel about those cards? Excited about any of them?
I mean, I feel like all of them have a decent shot at being somewhat playable. The Kronk is the no discard, right?
Something like that. I don't have it in front of me. Yeah. I know what Snow White does.
Yeah, the Snow White no challenge, I think, is one. I think the Li Shang, I don't remember what it does, but it's also one that I had on my radar to look at. And the Perdita is the big one that helps the puppies, right? So
yeah, comes out cheaper every time they quest.
I just love being able to play with the promos, so I think all of them will find a spot somewhere.
Yeah, I'm always a little indifferent about this whole buy a box promo, but whatever.
Which I didn't. Yeah, I didn't touch on that. The one of the recommended instructions for this, there was a lot of changes in the OP kit instructions. We're not going to run through all of them, but some more suggestions in weekly pricing and such. And they also suggested to the stores to use these Kronk cards specifically as buy a box promos, at least at first, to help pre-release, entice people to buy boxes, get a free Kronk card when you do that. So I thought that was pretty cool to have that in there. But again, it's divisive, I guess, amongst the community of whether or not that's.
Ask your LGS what they're going to do. It's a recommendation, right? Some of them might. It's to help try and build a community. So these are good recommendations. They also had the Pack Rush event idea in there, which sounded really cool. So I know some stores already have event launch day events already lined up. So ask your LGS, see what they've got. Maybe ask them to run this, another week or something. Some of these things are great. I really like the ideas they got in here.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious to go through them all because you both have read them. I have not yet. Yeah. So maybe it's something we'll talk more about next week, or as the Arcasia's Island goes on. Different stores do other things. What else we got? We got pins, right?
We got pins. The pins this time are going to be the Mad Hatter. I'm talking really weird tonight, guys. I'm so sorry. The Mad Hatter, the Ruby Emerald Dual Ink Mad Hatter, the Bolt from Amber Steel, and instead of the banner pins that they've been doing for the last 6 sets, they're now doing the ink color symbols, and they're starting with amber. So I think that those look pretty cool. Along with those, the lore counter that they've been including for the last several sets is now the Shift Bell from the Amber or the Ruby Sapphire deck. The cardboard boxes that they started last set with Rescue Rangers and Amber Rescue Rangers one is now in Amethyst. The draw card. I keep forgetting the name of it. It's got the Queen on it.
Oh,
it's Finders Keepers reskinned, right? But I think it's
the
cheaper.
New one. Yeah, everyone draws 3. Right.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. It is Show Me More.
Yeah.
I think it's themed to that card, an amethyst box. And those are the contents of the OP kit. I'm really excited about it. Again, new recommendations on how to distribute the product or distribute weekly instead of every 4 weeks. Really cool things in there, and it's worth checking out.
Yeah, and if you're really interested in more about our opinions there, let us know down in the comments below. Maybe we'll do a quick video about our quick thoughts on the new OP kit instructions, our recommendations, if you will. But I'll tell you what, I'm really excited for the ink pins.
Yes.
Because I've seen that. I saw a guy had a custom one, not authorized, if you will, made. And they were sick. Really love them. But yeah, any quick thoughts that you have?
I'm just excited to play with some new cards. We've been in this extended period of between sets, and it's I know that a lot of us here locally are feeling it, and I'm ready to get my hands on them and play some games.
Same. And with that, let's move on to Constituents Corner. Take it away, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Our first question is from our friend Paul, local player and listener. He asks, Ruby Sapphire has seen success outside the U.S. Do you think Set 7 will finally mark a win for it in a North American Disney Lorcana Championship? Lorcana again. Lorcana Championship.
It's okay. You'll get it.
Brad's
You'll
got
get
an
it.
accident.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Just
Those
like I can't,
Lorcana folk.
just like I can't pronounce new sets. Like Jafar's. What did I? It's Jafar's Reign, but I think I was like
Reign
Jafar's
of
Realm.
Jafar.
Reign of Jafar.
See, I messed it up.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So you
Reign
don't have
of
anything to
Jaffer.
Reign of Jaffer.
Yeah.
My answer to this real quick would be that I think Ruby Sapphire got some interesting cards this set. I'm curious to see how the meta develops, though, whether or not it is as strong of a deck as it was in past sets. But we know that we've got some amazing competitive players in the Disney Lorcana community that love piloting Ruby Sapphire and will certainly try to figure a way to make those cards work and be successful. And I think a lot of them will be successful. So I do think if we get another Disney Lorcana challenge in Set 7, which we may not, to be honest with you, I do think it would probably be a top contender to win.
Yeah, when I first read this question, I kind of like double taked because I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean North America is known for Ruby Sapphire? Like we have the best Ruby Sapphire players around. I mean, I guess DKP technically counts as a European. Well, he's from Europe, right? So
Yeah.
He is.
One in Australia.
right, and even though we see him in all of the North American ones, he's also at all the EU ones. But still, we've got like Sailor and other really good. Our local Justin qualified on Ruby Sapphire. He's a big player of it, and I think NA definitely plays Ruby Sapphire a lot. The only Ruby Sapphire we saw success in EU was that kind of weird item version, which was really spicy, and I'm glad it did well. But I think, honestly, regardless of new cards, Ruby Sapphire is the best, if not one of the best, if not the best deck. And even without new cards, is going to be the one to beat going in next set. So I think like it's incredibly due for a sort of championship in one of these DLCs. Yeah. So I'm incredibly surprised that it hasn't happened because from what I can tell, it seems like NA should be the Ruby Sapphire like domination, realm. Like we have the best players in it. So, but we'll see. Only time will tell.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think it's the deck to beat. We see constantly in the competitions that we've seen so far that Ruby Sapphire is one of, if not the highest percentage of turnover in the top cut. And they just haven't crossed that finish line of first place yet. And I mean, it's just a matter of time. I do agree with both of you. I think it's going to happen. I don't know when. We don't know when the new DLCs are going to be. Hopefully, there is one in Set 7 for them to have a chance to win with it. But we won't know till that's announced. But yeah, certainly in my eyes, the top deck to beat. So yeah, its time is coming for sure.
Not gonna lie, y'all. I feel like we might not even have Worlds in Set 7. So
wow.
Emily,
just saying.
Wow.
Emily asked me the other night because she's already itching to go back to Disney. She's like, I told her the potential, the rumors months ago about it being in March or whatever. And she's like, do you think it's going to happen between now and June because of the arts festival that's happening right now, or the flower festival, whatever new festival is happening at Disney World? And I said, I have no idea. Like, literally nobody knows when it's potentially is going to be. But I hope that it's during that period so you can go and enjoy the things that you want to enjoy while I'm, playing Lorcana all day, or at least around it, so
yeah,
but,
I mean, I really hope I'm wrong. I just my theory for that is the fact that like we know a lot about Set 8 now,
Yeah.
And we know nothing about worlds with the exception of what we've already talked about ad nauseum on this podcast. But I don't want to belabor that. That's just kind of my 2 cents. What's our next question, Brad?
Our next question comes from Disney Dad Lorcana Mike. Or I'm so sorry. Disney Dad Canada Mike. What decks are you most excited to try out for the first time or in a long time with what seems to be some meta shifting potential in set 7? I'll start with Andy.
All right, this is going to be a spicy one because this deck used to be good and it's coming back in set 7, all right? And honestly, it never went away. It's Ruby Amethyst, all right? I'm super excited for like Raja, Honey Marin, This Is My Family. These are all great 2-drops that I think help push Flynn out of Ruby Amethyst, which
is a card you hate.
I hate that card. I would love to push it out. I think Ruby Amethyst can move slightly closer to just consistently drawing cards and gaining lore uninteractively. A lot of that's a strong thing to have in Lorcana, is the ability to do what you want to do without interaction. So that's why Goat and White Rose and things like that, and to have Honey Marin on 2, the gain 1 lore, draw a card. This Is My Family. A lot of these cards help push it not quite into like the crazy burn deck, if you will, that we saw, the Insta Lore deck that we saw.
Lore, yeah.
But still like have really good value with that same kind of concept to it. So I'm excited to see Ruby Amethyst and how that develops for this next set.
What about you, Vince?
It's interesting that you say Ruby Amethyst. I feel like every time I see like Twitter, and it's always like Ruby Amethyst is dead now, finally, and then it always manages to like raise its fist out of the like dirt. It's like, nope, I'm still here. I'm the zombie deck. But no, I actually think I don't know if it's a hot take, but I do think we will see a return to competitive play of Sapphire Steel. I think it got a lot of interesting cards in the meta, and it's the deck that I'm really intrigued to look at because it's kind of the second deck I built when I first tried to build the Ruby Sapphire in set 1, which was a mistake.
That's not terrible.
It was okay. But I then moved to the Sapphire Steel, and then I finally settled for a few sets on Ruby Amethyst. Obviously, I'm still going to play Ruby Amethyst because I want to see if it works. It is one of my favorite decks, but I do want to kind of change it up. Brad, why don't you finish us off here?
I'm just excited for you to play, honestly. I feel like I haven't played you specifically in forever in like an actual game of Lorcana. But
well, it's just like every time we have a chance to, you're teaching somebody or I'm teaching somebody.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ruby Amethyst looks good. That was actually I was gonna surprise you guys with my answer, but I don't want to with that being my answer because of those cards. The Honey Marin is one that I'm absolutely interested in, and maybe making a variation of Blurple where it's just focused on those insta lore cards. Now that we have 3 of them, right, with the Goat, the Rose, and the Honey Marin, that maybe there's something there that I can cook up. But
yeah, I sure thought you were gonna say Blurple.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play Blurple probably from the start, at least on the competitive sense. My first, the answer his first question about what I'm most excited for is puppies. Like, nobody's going to get me off the puppy wagon. I don't care if you don't think it's competitive or it's just not, it's going to be fun to me, I think. I've had fun just building it and theorizing. I haven't been able to turn cards or anything. I don't do a whole lot of online play or whatever, but the puppies I think are going to be exciting, at least for a while, at least in the league that me and Vince host, or Vince and I host. That it's a casual league, and I'm there to have fun and make it fun for everybody else. So that's what I'm excited about. I think you're spot on with Blue Steel making a comeback competitively. I saw plenty of people. Everybody was excited about Ruby Amethyst or Ruby Sapphire when that Bell card was announced, but then we saw Kawa from Podcana and R&B and everybody from now Maelstrom cooking up their blue steel again and talking about how good it feels and how just that turn one bell giving her the ability to sing the songs that Cinderella can sing in Steel Song on turn one is just absolutely insane, and getting the beginning of your game, board set up and ready to go.
For those that are listening, Andy is doing a hardcore eye roll over here.
I'm gonna be laughing. I'm gonna be bellowing laughter from my diaphragm whenever that card ends up in everyone's bulk bin. Right.
But anyway,
yeah,
you've heard it here, though, that for our listeners that are in the St. Louis area, if you've got extra puppies, bring them. Brad needs them, especially to get his 99 puppies in that deck.
That's too many.
We're not running that. We're not running that many. No, I think out of the original art puppies, the 5 different variations that they have in set 3, I'm only running 10 of them in my current iteration of the list, and the only card that's in the list that's not 101 Dalmatians themed is Rapunzel for potential draw on some of the puppies or bigger bodies that we have there. So it's all theory. Who knows how it's going to feel. I'm excited to try it. That's the deck I'm most excited to play, and then competitively I'm going to try to make some variation of Blurple with and probably incorporate that bell, because I feel like she has to be in every Sapphire deck until Andy laughs at us all in the future and finds out. I don't know. That's my answer.
I don't know. I think Andy's wrong, but that's okay.
Not me over here building a Cruella de Vil deck to go against Brad's puppy deck with Sudden Chill and Horus and Jasper and Emerald and Sapphire. No big deal.
One other do that.
One other deck that I am excited about is Emerald Steel again. I used to be big on Emerald Steel at the end of set 1, beginning of set 3, even with the Beast OTK combo that came out with the Bayou. But now the Emerald Steel Pirates, I think, kind of fascinates me a little bit. Not the traditional discard that we've seen with Zan and Luke and everybody be successful with, but some variation that works on the pirate classification and things like that might be fun. And plus, it'd be fun to just play with one of the cards we revealed, right? That John Silver
maybe a John Silver Green Steel Pirate.
Yeah, if only for the reason, I like the card, and if it works, great. But if only for the reason that we revealed it, that'll get me excited enough, to have that in my deck. So,
for sure.
Yep.
All right, Brad. Next question.
All right, our last question is from Ali Ultran. He asked, I'm guessing set 7 art direction is commonly more loved than set 6. Comparing regular cards with their enchanteds, which one do you prefer, 1x1 or in general? Some enchanteds are wins for me, but others I like the regular art better. Tamatoa, this is controversial, Tamatoa and Return of Hercules, for example.
Okay, so first off, I'm very sorry, Ale, but we will not be going them 1x1. We have a time limit here. Vince will not allow us to do each of these 1x1, so we're gonna have to do in general.
Listen, you're lucky this question got added. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
And second off, I think what Brad is gonna say here, and we all agree on, is you're crazy, mate. The Tamatoa Enchanted is so gorgeous. It's not like the other art isn't good on the regular card, but that enchanted art is it's so good.
It's so good, and just to the fact that one and the Show Me More Enchanted were given to the other artists who got the Enchanted and said, this is the style that we want, because they're so good, and that's a shout out to Citizen Lorcana, and actually also the Disney Lorcana website. James was talking about it on their podcast last week, where I learned that little tidbit about those 2 cards being the template for the rest of the enchanted art for the series.
Yeah, I always think here's the thing: if you don't like them, you don't like them. If you like a different better, great. That's why we changed them up so that they're more creative. They're certainly, I think, a lot more inspired than they were for the first 3 sets of Lorcana when we had a pretty strict similar template.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will just say is before you make a decision that you don't like Arcasia's Islands enchanteds, wait to see them in person, because they do not look great.
That is true.
On a lot of times if you love the art, that's awesome. But when you're looking on a screen, they're not the same when you get them in person.
Absolutely.
Like every time I think I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And then I see it in person and I'm like, not only do I like it, but I want it. How much can I buy it from you for right now? And so that's always the case. And for me, and so I love these. I think they're awesome artwork. They kind of remind me of like the old, like kind of old style animation, cell animation that Disney did, and like what is it? It's not just like kind of in the Cinderella era and stuff, like a lot of like the like kind of title cards that they used to do and stuff. It has that very flared animation that I love. I mean, it's not animation, but the same kind of drawing. And so I'm a huge fan of them, but I also like Six's enchantments too. Like I liked their theme as well. And I'm sure as we go on, there will be themes I like more and themes I don't like as much.
Yeah.
What about you?
As far as what my favorites are, if I believe that was the question,
we don't have time.
Oh, okay, well, fine. But no, I want that. I want
the
Donald Duck.
One.
I want the Donald Duck. I mean, I like a lot of them, but the Donald Duck, I'd be happy with that one. The Devil's Eye Diamond or the Mickey, I think. But they're all beautiful.
Yeah. I think I'm probably gonna end up trying to get most of them. Radigan's great. Kirsten loves all of them.
Of course.
You're gonna try to get them all. You're gonna try to get them all.
Hiro Hamada, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it gives like kind of like anime vibes a little bit, which makes sense. I mean, the movie is set in like a Japanese-esque world, but yeah, they're all great. Like Vince said, I want to see them all in person.
You can check out the official app today. They uploaded those and they have the little shine to them. Not the same again, but better than even on the website. So
that's true. That's a good point.
Yep. And
all right, is that our last question?
That's our last question this week. If you'd like your questions answered by the villains in the future, be sure to comment on this video on YouTube or socials, or join us on our Discord where you can comment in the Constituents Corner channel. And I'll kick it to you, Vince.
All right, as we kick off the main segment, we said that we had something special for you. And as always, these come courteous of Villain Andy here, who comes up with these great end of set questions that we have. So what's the first one up here, Andy?
All right, so we've got the comeback card of the set. So this is like, what do you think is like the best card from a previous set that has made a return to the meta? We see this every set. A new card comes out, makes all these other cards more playable, and it's always fun. Especially as we do this podcast more, I'm excited to look back and be where we talk about these cards, and probably me saying how unplayable they are, and Brad saying, "But it fits in my puppy deck," and then 6 sets from now, all of a sudden a card is released, and it's like we're all being oppressed by the next Bucky 2.0 that happened to have been among us the whole time, basically. So. Yeah, best card from a previous set that has made a return to this past meta that we've been in. So I'll go ahead and I guess I'll start it off with the
obvious one.
Yeah, obvious one, Pirate's Life. I honestly don't even remember what set is from now. Set 4,
3.
Right? 3? Wow, it's that old.
Is it really set 3?
Yep, it came out in Into the Inklands.
No,
I will
kidding.
double check, but I'm pretty confident.
And so it was one of the cheaper Sing Together cards at the time. The Sing Together
Set
4. Okay, I was right.
That's what I thought.
All right.
I'm sorry.
It's the Sing Together mechanic. We never really saw any of them take off too much. Most of the time, the Sing Together was just sort of played or expected to be played for its full value. So a 6 cost, Aladdin effect or 2 lore swing. 4 lore swing, 2 from them, 2 for you. People didn't really find it that great until all of a sudden they had a 6 cost singer for this Sing Together. So now it only takes one person to sing it. and it just so happens that half shark, half human was able to give you one additional lore for doing such a thing. So Pirate's Life with Maui half shark made quite a villainous meta for us here.
Yeah,
I hated
I
it.
think really the key here, like like you alluded to here, is really as the game got more aggro, and faster in particular, you needed a card to slow the game down, and this is the card to slow the game down. And like you said, with that benefit of that Maui half shark gaining lore.
Yeah, absolutely. That and his ability to recur the item also kind of helps. It's almost like Maui and the Pirate's Life were made for each other. It's a good combo. What about you, Brad? What do you got?
I chose our favorite secondary mascot to the podcast, Super Peepo. Super Peepo. Here in America, he is Super Goof. I don't remember or I guess he's Goofy. Super Goof is the subtitle. He is a card that has been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun with him on the podcast. And he actually, I like him. I liked him for a while. We've all liked him for a while. I won my set championship with him in my Red Fossa deck before DKP won his Melbourne DLC title with his Ruby Sapphire. Right? Yeah, before it was cool. No,
what he's saying is before DKP net decked.
That's right.
That card.
You know what? That jabroni in St. Louis is running Super Goof. I think I could do it better. No,
all right, pop quiz. What's Setsi from?
What's 4.
What's Setsi from?
4. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain on that one. And I should have known that Sing Together. I always forget Pirate's Life is Sing Together.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
Man.
Otherwise, I would have gotten it. The Pirate's Life is so easy, like you touched on, is so easily singable by one person. I forget that it's Sing Together, and Sing Together was introduced in set 4. So as soon as you said that, I was like, derp. But yeah, this card, he challenges into something, and he has rush. He's a 2/4. He rushes into something. You get 2 lore every time he challenges. So imagine in my deck where you can heal him and you maybe get more value from him on a multiple challenges. But he's most of the time removed at the first turn that you play him. But that 2 lore swing, just like the Pirate's Life, comes out of nowhere and really helps progress your win state. And he certainly made a comeback. As we saw in the last several weeks of Melbourne and set championships, where he's been great. What about you, Vince?
Yeah, I really like that card. One thing I'll just say before I say my card, to go back to Andy's, is that it's really great to see a card that was really good in multiplayer come into the meta, because I played that in my multiplayer deck for the multiplayer tournament at Gen Con, and it was a lot of fun. And actually that was thanks to you, Andy, because you're the one who recommended to run that deck, because I was like, hey, what should I run? I've been running Ruby Amethyst. What's a good multiplayer deck? And Andy's like, I hate to tell you this, but it's Ruby Amethyst.
Yeah. Contains each opponent enter.
But funny enough, the reason why I bring that up is because mine is, if you don't have a throne, take one. It is, of course, the 12th rule of Villainy, Lady Tremaine, Imperious Queen, who has made a massive comeback into this meta game, much to the dismay of Andy, but certainly to the delight of me, because I love that card. I will just say, the thing I'm most disappointed about is I wish I would have gotten that enchanted before it doubled in price, because it was in the winning.
Thanks,
Ed. Yeah. I was like, thanks, I appreciate it. So not ideal, but love that card.
It's because of the shark. All of our, maybe not the Super Peepo, but Tremaine and Pirate's Life both got their second, or in Tremaine's case, fourth chance, because of the Maui half shark, because they prep, play the half shark, and then what's the best answer to that? Well, Lady Tremaine. So
yeah, it's especially great in those decks I mean, it's a great card against Ruby Amethyst. It's a great card against, particularly if you're thinking you're going to go into Ruby Sapphire heavy meta, because like you said, if you can be prep, you know that they're probably only going to get one card out, and you instantly turn the tide of the game over. Especially what was so effective about this card is the ability to play it and bounce it back into your hand.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, which is one of the most really fun things to do, is you can play it and you can shift right on top of it for additional resources, which is gross, but really fun and cool. And so again, I was really excited to see this card stay in the meta. I don't know if it'll stay in the meta going forward, but I'm really glad to see it return for set 6.
Absolutely. All right, so next up we've got like the meta breaker of the set, like the best card from this set, one that sort of just defined this set. It doesn't have to necessarily be from set 6, but it doesn't also have to be like a specific comeback card. So just something you think really defined the meta this set.
Who's gonna take it?
Bucky defined that.
Get out of here.
I'm so sorry.
What year is it?
What year is it? Who's going first?
I think you are, Brad.
Yeah, you go first, Brad.
Okay, I think I know at least. I'm gonna pass on one because I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna at least say it. If not, I'll speak up to it. But I got to go with Sail the Azurite Sea.
Fail.
I think Sail.
Fail.
We saw it. We saw its success at the S'more Awards last week at the S'morecana podcast. But no, it's for such a
Absolutely.
common card. It's a common card, and the fact that it gives you a second ink via the Bell ability. You're inking a second time, not putting it in your inkwell like Quill or Tipo. And drawing a card, making that card common and 2 cost and inkable is just absolutely insane for any Sapphire deck. You don't run a Sapphire deck and not run that card because it does everything Sapphire wants it to do: draw cards, give you additional resources, and be inkable, right? So it's basic. It's almost a perfect turn 2, just because it replaces itself. And yeah, I think that Ruby, Sapphire, even my Sapphire Blurple was moderately successful with it, and
Yep.
it's just it's such a great card, and I think that from the future on, it's going to be in every Sapphire deck.
Ramp on 2 is pretty strong.
Yep, an inkable ramp on 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'll go second here. And I would say maybe somewhat controversial, but I really do think that Alice Savory Sailor
Nice.
was a really interesting meta call in making that Harlan Sweet aggro version of Steel Sapphire, which is something that really I never even considered, because you always think of Sapphire being the ramp kind of deck and really just turning, or items, and really just kind of turning that off and focusing on the really key cards in Sapphire that help, whether it's giving characters ward or giving them extra lore and stuff. So you saw that pair real well with a card like Cogsworth in that deck. And so you just really, really great to see that deck. I'll never forget when we had one of our locals bring that to Fortuna, and he's like, "Oh, I'm playing Sapphire Steel." I was like, good luck, because you ain't gonna get it. And not knowing how good that deck was, just because I was so used to having seen it and formulated in other ways, that it just never occurred to me to formulate that deck in a much more aggressive kind of way. And it's really, really successful, and it was a deck that did well, even though it's kind of a coin toss against that same kind of aggro Amber Steel deck. And really, honestly, the player that went first is kind of the player that would win, or at least be more favored to win.
Yeah. And the part that Vince left out of that story is that actually Vince and Alec, the player, left Fortuna at the same time that day. Vince went home because he scrubbed out, and Alec actually ID'd and made top cut and went and grabbed some hot chicken down the street, came back, and then won the whole darn thing. So, it's definitely a good card and a good deck. And I guess he had the luck that he needed, right, Vince?
That's right. He certainly did.
How nice of you! How generous of you to bestow that luck upon him at the beginning of the tournament. You know,
listen. I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I was definitely wrong. All right, Andy, what's yours?
All right. I think I'm gonna go with Calhoun because I think we talked about it earlier in the set, how the Genie Wars were going to sort of define this meta. And I think early in the meta they did, but I think the real battle was the Calhoun Wars. Because once the meta settled out a little more, like we saw that Harlan Sweet Sapphire Steel list. We also saw the Amber Steel, the Diggy version, or the even faster version, really, that had like the Svens and or even Kita we saw in there. The one with no mine package, basically. And then towards the end of the sets, all of the crazy jank stuff that myself and others put together in Emerald Steel and Ruby Steel. And they all had this Calhoun in them, and you play the Calhoun on 2, and it shuts down so many of these 1-drops. All of these cantripping 1-drops. Your Diablo is suddenly a huge liability. Your Tipo is a huge liability. Your Cursed Merfolk. Oh, they have to discard a card, but they get 2 lore out of it. So like these cards become a big liability, and then they play a Calhoun. So now you just have these 2 Calhoun Marine sergeants just like staring each other down across this, what do they call them? The no military zone in between like a border or whatever, like a contested border.
The demilitarized zone.
DMZ.
Okay, you were close.
I was close. Dude. So and you just got these Calhouns staring each other down, and you end up like sort of freezing the whole board, really, because you never want to give that advantageous trade to the Calhoun with her resist 1. It just eats up these smaller characters, and so it becomes really interesting. And then obviously someone then sings Strength of a Raging Fire, and then obviously both lines break loose and cross the DMZ, and it all breaks. A lot of banishing happens. A lot of good characters banished out there, but in the end, it all started with that Calhoun battle. So I think this meta Calhoun has been sort of defining the meta.
Yeah, Calhoun was one of those cards that kind of came out at the gate, right? It's like we saw it, we're like, this is a good card, and it quickly found its home in a lot of decks, and just kind of stayed in those decks throughout the set. So it's not, that's one of those cards that's what's interesting about is like, the cards both, especially Alice, right? Like as a card that found its way into the meta. It was a card that people saw, like, is this good? Can this be played? And then found a way to put it in a deck. And so it came out kind of late. But Calhoun was one of those cards that was pretty much in decks from, week 1.
Yeah, and a testament to both of those cards. Calhoun was our first villain of the week, this set, and Alice was our second. And then they, because they just came out of the gate, like basically what Vince just said, they came out of the gates just so super strong. Calhoun stuck through it. I think Alice found play in specific decks and will continue to, because she is a fantastic card. But yeah, just wanted to add that little anecdote there that we talked about them both before, and I'm actually very surprised that I expected one of you guys to say shark in this question.
Shark,
yeah, it certainly did define the meta, but
it's hard to narrow down to one card.
It is hard to narrow down to one card, And
Why didn't
I
you
don't
say
know.
the shark, Brad? What was your
Because
answer? Sail the Azurite Sea.
Sail. Yeah.
What are you playing sail for? To get to the shark.
Yeah,
right?
that's fair.
Why
yeah,
did you sail
yeah.
the Azurite Sea? To get to the shark.
To find a half shark? Yeah.
It's like a joke.
So
Yeah,
it could be
but-
Maui time. Yeah,
but
I get it.
he played Sail in his Blurple deck, so
I didn't play shark in my Blurple deck.
well,
I
you
couldn't.
can't, 'cause that
Yeah.
would be an illegal deck.
Don't tell
All
the
right.
judges.
What's the
Yeah, the last one we have here is the Displayable Award. For those of you who can't read my notes here, it says DIS-playable, like display, but displayable. So it's like not playable. It's a really good pun when it's written down. So
also
Brad will put
represents
it in the
Disney.
notes. Yeah, Brad will put it in the notes, and
Yeah.
you'll all laugh when you read it. But the displayable one is like the best art, coolest card, but maybe not. Maybe it didn't pan out in the meta as you kind of hoped for.
Yeah, so I'll take this one first here. Simba Pride Protector, which is a Kendall Hale artwork.
Yeah,
and he's like one of my favorite artists in Lorcana. Although it's hard because there are so many great artists.
we met him in Seattle, right?
Yeah,
and
I
his
told
card
him-
was revealed while we were in Seattle, right?
I told him
Yeah.
he was signing my Sword in the Stone cards. I was like, man, I love your work. I can't wait to see what more, hopefully you have more cards in the future. And he I feel like he, smirked a little bit, like, cause he can't tell me obviously
Right.
or whatever. And I wasn't fishing for anything, but I got a hint that like, I'm sure we're going to see more of you. And then like an hour later, they announced that Simba card. And I'm like, hey,
Imagine if he was like, well, and he like looks over at the screen. He's like, there's that
What time
one.
is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that one. Reveals.
I do think I hope this is a card we talk about in the future that has come back and has come into the meta because it just didn't really see play. I know folks tried it, but it just didn't see play. And I do really hope it finds a place in the meta because it's such a cool effect. And just for those to reminder, its effect is understand the balance at the end of your turn. If this character is exerted, you may ready your other characters. And I know Brad in your ketchup mustard deck or red Fossa deck, you didn't run this card, but you had a character that had a very similar effect that would ready. Right when
Judy Hopps,
Judy,
right?
6 at the end of turn. She doesn't have to be exerted, but you can choose a character to ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so this is, and I know like people are talking about it in conjunction. Could you use this with that Judy Hopps and basically ready everyone? And I just don't think that worked. But it's interesting to see like you had Judy Hopps in your deck to use that effect. I wonder if we'll see in the future that card come into the meta for a similar effect, but to protect more of your characters.
Yeah, and there's a really good line where in the Amber Seal that I was running, it was Frank Carson's deck found a lot of success with it at the very beginning of the set, and I think the meta moved away from that. But the 1-drop Simba from set 1, the Steel Simba, where you draw a discard on play, shifting onto him is great. It was telegraphed at that point because everybody knew I was trying to do that, but. Even the bodyguard Simba, I think we saw Frank Carson in the online championship that they did, where they played the bodyguards. He played the bodyguard Simba, and then he was able to bring in the Floodborn Simba.
It's the same cost.
Exerted,
it's a 3-cost shift or 5-cost regular. So if you have both in hand, you can play one as bodyguard exerted and then shift the other immediately on top of it for the same cost.
The most genius thing.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like,
effect kind of thing.
Yeah. But as I say this about all the cards, I feel like as the sets grow, he'll find his way. It's such a beautiful card, like you said, and I think he'll find his way in more decks, or at least I hope so, because it's a really cool card.
All right, Andy.
Now I forget the one I said I was going to say.
You want me to do mine?
Yeah, you do yours.
Yeah, you can do yours.
I made a whole list of them, but Simba was on it. The card that I am going to choose is Scar.
Sail.
No, Sail's not on there. It's a very pretty card. Alice is on there too. But Scar, Tempestuous Lion. He is a 6-cost uninkable card with Rush. He's 4/4 with Challenger 3. So he comes out swinging for 7 in Amethyst. And just a beautiful, beautiful card. I love the colors. He's this like one of the cards that came out this set from that's like looks like possessed, right? With whatever's happening there. I don't know the lore of what's got him or whatever, but everybody here shouldn't be surprised. I am a huge Scar fan, and that card is
you don't say.
absolutely beautiful.
All right, Andy.
All right, yeah, I found it. It was the Hercules baby demigod.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is like such like a stickerable, a sticker kind of thing. Like you feel like you can peel the snakes, the Pain and Panic snakes, and the baby Hercules off, and then stick it right next to your baby Pegasus sticker. And like, I think I said pre-show that like this would be like a really cool tattoo as well if you were like a huge Hercules fan. I just think the little cartoony aspect of it is great.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about stickers. That's actually a pretty good idea for like a future like little set to have stickers on it. Much like our idea to have a scratch and sniff for Lotso Hug in there.
Yeah.
That Hercules is so interesting though.
He better smell like strawberries.
He better.
Yeah, but you're gonna have people in like Target sniffing packs, right? If he's good, like the people are gonna be like looking for that enchanted, just like sniffing the packs.
Well, maybe the enchanted shouldn't smell that. But yeah, I don't know. It's such a really cool card.
Really unplayable though.
But it is really unplayable.
I don't get it. I hope there's some kind of synergy in the future to make that worth playing because I don't see a scenario. I mean, 6 strength is great, but I don't know. I don't know how.
Why would you be challenging with this though? Because it has low willpower, and like the point of this is that you can play it down and let it sit on the board. It has ward, so it's particularly difficult to remove. And then you could just continually pay 3 over and over and over again to deal 1 damage to chosen damaged character, though, is the problem. So you have to have a way to put damage. And so for such a high costed ability, you need to be playing with Sapphire. But for having a damaged character, you have to be playing with Steel. So, like, yeah.
I'm honestly, though, this is one of those cards that I think is why it's so expensive and so unplayable is because it's doing something that Emerald doesn't do. Like, this is a card that would be probably lower cost in a Steel because it has that damage ability. But I think because it's trying to do something that's outside of its wheelhouse, but they balance it.
Though. That's what Emerald
That's what
does.
I'm saying.
That's the balance, though. Stop making it so expensive.
I also think this is a card that probably needed to be a shift card, right?
Ooh,
like,
maybe, yeah.
But would it be a playable then? I don't know, but I think this is one of those cards.
It's still beautiful.
I've always liked it,
like the color
but,
or the look of it.
But I do like the artist. There.
Is that Coney? Did you do the art?
No, it's
Epic.
Yeah.
It was a 1-word K, and it was really tiny, so I just took a guess. I'm sorry.
Oh, Capic did all of the Dalmatian puppies.
Let's go.
And the 2-cost Pinocchio that quests for 3. He did Tipo, or they did Tipo as well as Scuttle. So they got quite a bit in here. 13 cards.
Wow, that's awesome. Yep. Well, gentlemen, let's take a trip to the Galactic Council Chamber.
Whoa,
that's right.
I knew Vince would be happy you brought this back.
That's right.
Been here forever.
This segment back. Welcome here. And you might wonder, why are we bringing this segment back? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because we're going to discuss 3 cards that have not been our villain of the week and judge them on whether or not they should be this week's villain of the week. So we're going to kick it off for the prosecution here, if you will, or advocacy for, with the mayor himself to present his card.
All right. Are we all apologizing to Gantu while we're here at the chambers?
Well, one of us might not be.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I will apologize to our Lord Savior Gantu. All hail from Set 6
All
Azurite
hail.
Sea. Sail the Azurite Sea. As you just heard a little bit ago, 2-cost inkable action, common card in Sapphire. This turn, you may put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down and draw a card. Flavor text, you need a good plan and an even better luck to make it across the treacherous waters. Art by Valerio Buonfantino. Hope I said that correctly. I've already said just about 5 minutes ago how great this card is. 2-cost inkable card to let you replace itself and ink an additional turn for that ramp or additional card for ramp. I feel like it's easily obtainable. It's going to be in every Sapphire deck, and I feel like it has to be. It's beautiful art, great function.
Not even a
that's
song,
my
though.
case.
It's super fair. It's not even a song. It's fine.
Yeah.
This card's fine. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. You've got a vested interest, sir, in this.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, I'm
All
not
right.
I just don't know what more to say. I mean, it's one of the cards that, like, we've gone 16 weeks here in the set. I think that we are 15 villains of the week, and it was one of the ones that were like, we'll eventually get to it. It's so it's so defining in this set, let alone by its name, right? You know, when that card was announced, everybody's like, well, that's an instant 4 of in every Sapphire deck. And
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good argument. There's an instant 4 of in every deck.
yeah,
So I'll give you that. But anyway, we'll take your argument has been submitted, Mr. Mayor. Villainy Andy, present your case, sir.
I present our Lord and Savior himself, Gantu,
All
Captain
hail.
Cranky Head. 5-cost, inkable 4/3. Quest for 4. Vanilla card, I know. But I'll ask you this, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Can you name another vanilla card that gets played in DisneyLorcana that is not a 1-drop? The answer is you can't, and there aren't any. And that's because the only person worthy is the Dreamborn alien Captain Cranky Head himself, Lord Gantu. This card is a menace in all of the aforementioned Calhoun decks, because once you think you finally, like, you know, stave them off and you're about to come back and take victory right from their clutches, no. Gantu comes down and says, no.
I will just say objection on the vanilla card. I have to ask Brad one question.
Uh-oh.
Did you play Mickey Brave Little Tailor in your deck when you won?
I
He's
did.
not vanilla, he's evasive.
Oh, he is evasive.
Exactly. What a powerful ability.
But I appreciate the assistance there. We haven't even got to your card yet, and we're defending mine.
Gantu stands alone. So
All right.
yeah.
Well, my card, ladies and gentlemen, is a 4-cost inkable in Ruby Raya Kumundran Rider, a 3 strength, 3 willpower, storyborn hero princess. Its ability is, come on, let's do this. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may ready another chosen character of yours. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. Quest for 2 lore, and its art is by Mariana Moreno and Pete Brockhammer. And so the big reason why I put this in here is because it's such a phenomenal card in Ruby Sapphire, because you're inking anyway. And see, I'm gearing up here if you can't see. I'm just so enjoyed emotions for how great this card is. No, for some reason I just got some allergies. I was like,
help me, you need a Benadryl?
But it's one of those cards I saw when like we were casting the set championships, Andy, and I was like, what is that card doing? And they'd like run into, it's a great way to deal with things like McDuck Manor to be able to do board clears without having to do be prepared and stuff, so it was able to like use a lot of tools because you combine things like Medusa or Tremaines, and then you could you get a lot of opportunity ink and sapphire, so you can kind of like you use those ink turns strategically, that you can swing a few times into different characters. And so it's just a really awesome tool to be able to do board clear. And honestly, like as a Ruby Sapphire player, that's what you want. You want to clear your opponent's board so that you don't have to clear yours, because then that sets you back as a Ruby Sapphire player. Like we talked earlier and stuff, the way to control a Ruby Sapphire player is to clear their board and force them to only play one character at a time, or they're going to end up having to play low value cards because they don't have the cards they want. You force them to play things like, Sail, or to try to do some deck searching, you or Grandma Tala's, or How Far I'll Go, right? So you force them into this scenario, and sometimes when you're a Ruby Sapphire player, you have to pull all the stops out and say, you know what, I need to reset the game, so I am going to do be prepared. But a card like this allows you to not have to do that and clear your opponent's board super effectively and still continue your own game state advance. So that's why I submit this card.
This card
to the jury.
It's not a bad card. It's not a bad card. It'll go nice with the new coil that we got. Mm-hmm. It'll pair even well, even better with that.
This card is responsible for
the Ruby coil.
No, the Sapphire coil.
No, I'm joking.
Ruby coil.
I don't think any of the other coils are playable.
You could honestly use this Rhea to ready a Gantu that just quested for 4, and keep him out of harm's way, and then that would really be probably the best use of this Rhea, honestly.
I don't know. This card is part of one of my favorite combos I've ever done in Lorcana. When I won the set championship with my Red Fossa deck, I would have Gaston out, not Shady Dealer, Despicable Dealer out on 3, and then I'd play Rhea on. How does this work? Yeah, okay. So I'd have Gaston out on 3. I would exert him to play Rhea for 2, and then I would ink for turn to ready Gaston, and then I would have 2 ink usable in my inkwell, so I would exert Gaston again because it's just an exert ability, and then play Rapunzel for 4, heal up Gothel, draw 3, and whatever else I want to do that turn or haven't done already. But that's 2 4-cost characters on turn 4 because of that, singly because of that ability of her to just ready up the Gaston to make my next character cheap again, right? And I did that a couple times that day, and it felt so good, replenishing my hand on 4, having 2 powerful cards out there, having that effect ready for the rest of the game until she's dealt with. She's a very, very good card, and I do appreciate her being in the running here.
I think I will say that she is a supporting character. If you are not doing great, and you pull this off the top versus a Tala off the top and Ruby Sapphire, you're gonna want the Tala so that you can continue searching for the cards that actually matter. Although on curve in a deck like the DKP Ruby Sapphire that we saw, it does make me curious as to why that isn't in it, or I would love to get his thoughts on like if he considered that in there, because curving out to going to 4 with a ramp on 2 and then playing Tala down and then playing a Maui is your best response to a opposing McDuck Manor. But something like Raya, it gives you the same ability, but also allows you to potentially play Raya, play Maui the next turn, hit the McDuck, sing How Far I'll Go, put something into your ink, ready the Maui, and then send the Maui into the McDuck again, and now you've gotten 4 extra inks worth of value out of that turn. So it is a pretty interesting play, a card, really, I guess.
I wonder. Yeah, it's a good thought. Wondering if he considered it, but I am not even going to begin to question.
No, certainly not.
All the
Yeah, and
success,
I think
success that he's had. But
I think the
but
answer
I don't
is
know,
that it's not as great
DK
later in the game.
yeah.
DKP, come on our podcast and defend why you're not using it. No, I'm kidding. But please, you have an open invitation anytime to come.
For sure.
But yeah,
As
so
do all
should we...
DLC winners. By the way, I don't want to like single any of them out. We love DKP and Zan. You guys can all come on here. We'll have them all at the same time, right?
I'm sorry, only
A little
DKP.
crowded in this,
Only
in
DKP.
this chamber.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, everybody is welcome. Maybe not in the council chamber. You're right.
Yeah.
The council chamber does get a
Yeah.
little crowded.
Yeah.
It's a little stuffy out here in space. But with that, let's go ahead and vote. So, Andy, why don't you go first?
I should let you guys know and let the viewers know the stakes that are here. Not just being this week's villain of the week, but after this episode, along with this episode, we will be asking for you to vote on the villain of the set. The most villainous of all of the villains from this past set that we've discussed. Not all of them are from this set specifically, but they're all
Only a
ones
few
that
of them are. Yeah.
were villainous during this meta that existed. And so this is the LCQ for that event. For the villain continentals, if you will. So this is very, very important. With that said, I do think I have to cast my vote for Sail the Azurite Sea.
Wow. Okay. Sail the Azurite Sea. All right, Brad.
I'm going to assume we are not voting for ourselves in this exercise. So I am going to say, in fear of his wrath, Raya.
Oh, my wrath.
No, in fear of Gantu's wrath. Our Lord and Savior.
All hail.
Yeah.
So what happens here now, Andy? If I vote for Gantu,
we do it again. More arguments.
Have you ever seen the movie 12 Angry Men? This is called Three Angry Men.
No, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to say that it's Sail the Azurite Sea. I think it deserves to be in the running for villain of the set. And while I think Raya has bravely fought the case, she unfortunately just doesn't make it quite yet. Maybe next set. Maybe she makes a return. And maybe Gantu, all hail, will make a return.
Apologies to Gantu, but this week's villain of the week is Sail the Azurite Sea.
Sail the Azurite Sea. And we'll have some links to the artists in the show notes there.
Yep. Can I give a quick shout out to him?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, Valerio, they have an Instagram and an ArtStation link again in the show notes. 13 cards in the game. Notable from set 1, we have the Maleficent Sorceress, the famous draw card Maleficent from Amethyst. Rush Queen from set 2, the legendary Milo from set 3, and the upcoming set 7, Baymax, the giant robot Universal Shift.
Let's go.
One enchanted from set 1, Belle, Strange but Special, which is a very
really
great card. Yep. So shout out to them. Great work. And
I think you bought that at Fortuna, didn't you?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think we pulled that one. I think we pulled the Bell. I bought the Aurora.
You bought the Aurora.
Aurora.
That's right.
And I think I missed it at Fortuna. I was really. We have way too. We could do a whole episode of just all of us wishing we had bought something right before it either got sold or went twice the price because someone won Continentals with it. But
Yeah, I mean that is true.
no
you
one
know.
won that with the Aurora, but
I
someone
mean,
bought
truth
it.
be told, we probably should get somebody on the podcast that talks about the like finance end of Lorcana, because we're not finance experts and don't.
Well, I should have gotten contact information, so maybe we can do this as like a as like a missing and out there. Tamatoa's Lair. We met Vincent. It was his handle, I believe. We met in Seattle. I've been trying to find him and get in touch with him, and I haven't been. I search for it all the time. I've got a Google alert for Tamatoa's Lair.
Yeah.
When their channel comes out, we should collab with them and get some financial advice, because Vince has said it before. We are not financial advisors. Do not take fiduciary advice from us or whatever.
Yeah, he also donated a Mirabelle for our second chances.
Yeah.
Or our
That's
our
right.
yeah.
He
Very cool
did,
guy.
which
Yes.
is awesome. But speaking though of non-financial advice, but super help to the podcast, is that if you would like to buy any cards whatsoever that you're trying to finish your, Azurite Sea collection or playset, or maybe you're trying to complete the rest of your Lorcana, or maybe you're looking for future sets, because while you should definitely support your local game store, maybe they don't have everything that you're looking for. So with that being said, Andy, where can they go find them?
Partner.tcgplayer.com/ROV.
And does it cost them anything at all?
Absolutely nothing. You can shop from your favorite TCG Player vendors, get your favorite deals on all of your cards. You can honestly probably even do it for non-Lorcana cards, except for Star Wars, because you're not allowed to go play Star Wars. We'll bleep that out. But yeah, partner.tcgplayer.com/ROV. Go grab your singles. Go grab. I think they've even had foreign language packs on there sometimes, right? So you could get like a box of Japanese or Chinese cards, maybe, which are always super fun. Pulled an Enchanted the other day, one of those. But yeah, we really appreciate that. It'll help us fund future events and do more fun stuff with you guys.
Yeah. And also, as Andy talked about, we will be sending out a poll, I believe, on one of the social medias, right? Or is
All
it
of
gonna
them.
be on Discord? All of them.
Well, no, the poll itself will be a Google form, but I'll be
Google.
broadcasting it on all the social medias for our villain of the set, which we did do last time. We gave away a copy of Villainous with the Prince John promo in it. I'm thinking this. I haven't figured out what I'm giving away this time. I'm thinking the new Lilo alternate art package, I think, would be a pretty cool prize if I get my hands on that. But we'll figure that out. I think that's what I have in my mind as the giveaway for participating. It'll be completely random. All you got to do on the Google form is put your name and your email address there, or we'll figure out who you are based on that, or just reach out to that email address, I think, is the easiest way. Should I go down the list of the candidates that we've had the last 16 weeks?
Yeah, let's run it down real quick.
All right. Our villains of the week for this set have been Calhoun, Marine Sergeant, Alice, Savvy Sailor, Go-Go Tamago, Darting Dynamo, Genie, Wish Fulfilled, Maui, Half Shark. On our holiday episode, we had the Grinch, A Pirate's Life, Cinderella, Ballroom Sensation, Lady Tremaine, Imperious Queen, Doc, Bold Knights, Pluto, Guard Dog, Gaston, Despicable Dealer, McDuck Manor, Bend to My Will, and Sail the Azurite Sea.
Yeah, what a list of competitors to be named the villain of the sets.
Yep. It's exciting.
And it is exciting. But with that, let us know your thoughts on our villain of the week, and make sure that you go vote once that poll goes up. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, which you should, or watch us on YouTube, which Andy will talk about here in a second. But you should rate it and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I don't know. Maybe you listen on the moon. Maybe you listen on Mars. I don't know. Is there a Martian podcast? Maybe there is. I don't know.
Now I have to search for podcast services that stream to Mars. Okay. If you're joining us on YouTube, which may or may not be available extraterrestrially, But it is available here on good old Earth. So come hang out with us. Be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. We are getting closer to our next milestone of 500 subscribers. I think we're almost at 300 now. If we can get to 500 subscribers, that would be super awesome. Ring that bell icon to be notified of our next episode, as well as sometimes when Kirsten and I decide to randomly go live and open a pack of Japanese cards. So, make sure you're getting those notifications and you can join us for that kind of fun stuff. Brad, take it away.
Yeah. We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending a little bit of it with us. If you would like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, consider following us on our socials. We're on Instagram, Blue Sky, and the platform formerly known as Twitter @RulesOfVillainy. We also have a growing community on Discord in which you can join with the link below. We're almost at 100 members on our Discord. It's really exciting. Lots of great conversations, and we hope you join.
That is awesome. Well, from the Galactic Council Chamber, until next week's, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of wannabe heroes who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.